Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Talks. I'm Seema Kumar, CEO of Cure. And our goal at Cure is to cure, period. That's our mission, which is why we have a period after our logo. If you don't know about Cure, let me tell you a little bit about it. We are an innovation campus situated in the heart of Silicon Valley in New York City. Our campus is equipped with state-of-the-art laboratories to foster multidisciplinary innovation and collaboration across academia, industry, government, and non-for-profit sectors. Our primary objective is to address the most challenging healthcare issues of today, tomorrow, and in the future. I'm excited to introduce our guest today, Dr. Maria Luisa Pineda, who is one of the most influential and inspired scientific voices in New York City. Dr. Pineda is the CEO and co-founder of Evanigentics. She began her STEM career by winning the International Science Fair in Miami as a high school student after immigrating from Colombia in 2001. She received her doctorate degree from Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory School of Biological Sciences, where she was an Arnold and Mabel Beckman graduate student and a William Randolph Hearst Foundation scholar. Under her leadership, Evanigentics has secured non-dilutive SBIR grants from the National Institutes of Health, raised capital from investors, and established several research collaboration partnerships with BioPharma firms. She also serves as the Secretary of Alliance for Artificial Intelligence in Healthcare, or AAIH, which is a non-for-profit advocacy and educational organization dedicated to promoting the development and implementation of AI in healthcare. Well, welcome to Tuesday Talks with Maria. Hi, Maria.
Hey,
Welcome to the
Seema.
show. Hey. So before we begin actually talking about Evanigentics and all the great work you're doing, I want to wish you happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Your work and how you honor your culture, is a great inspiration, not only to me, but also to other women in STEM across the country.
Oh, gracias, Seema. Really appreciate it. Excited to be representing and showcasing my work, my team's work, and representing a lot of Latinx in the United States.
Wonderful. So let's get down to it, okay? So before you were a co-founder and CEO, you were a young girl who grew up in Colombia and then migrated to Miami in 2001, where your passion for science began actually in high school with an interest in genetics and therapeutics. So tell us a little bit about how your mother drove you to your first internship at the lab almost every day.
Well, I was always curious about genetics and robotics when I was very, very young. And I got involved as a high school student. I was really, really fortunate because I found an amazing mentor at Berry University that had a genetic lab. And at her lab, I really started to begin studying how fruit flies had legs growing up out of their head, which was a developmental project, and really, really led me to, ask this amazing things about how the genetics and the developmental genes work. And my mom had to drive me every single day because I still didn't have a driver license. I was 16. So if you think about it, it really set me off as a trajectory to study genetics, study, oncology or cancer biology as a, PhD student, and really kind of propelled me in my career because it allowed me to win my first science and engineering fair, which is, what started my career as a whole.
That's just phenomenal, right? God bless moms. And and behind every successful woman, there's another woman. That's also the moral of the story. That's great. So Evanigentics, your company, is an AI-driven biotechnology company. It's spun out of the Cold Spring Harbor Laboratory, where, at Evanigentics today, you focus on diseases that are driven actually by splicing deregulation, and you're focused currently on oncology, right? So how did you begin Evanigentics, and what makes your approach to oncology different than others?
Well, we, as you said, Evanigentics, we're an AI-driven biotech, and we focus primarily on RNA splicing. For those folks that are not familiar with RNA splicing, is the process in which the pre-mRNA is converted into a mature mRNA. So this is a very normal process that occurs in cells. When errors in this process happen, it creates very, proteins that are not very good or toxic to cells and our tissues. So it can generate almost 400 disorders or diseases, including many cancers like breast, lung, colorectal, and other neuromuscular disorders. So at Evanigentics, we started with my co-founder Martina Ackerman and our professor Dr. Adrian Krainer, after we were working on the spinal muscular atrophy drug called Spinraza, which is a horrible genetic disorder that affects children's muscles where they stop working. And we could, with RNA splicing and a therapeutic, we could basically fix those, and the muscles can regain function. So it basically fixed that error. And the children and the clinical trials were sending notes, handwritten thank you notes to my professor. And now they could walk, talk, write, make notes. And that means the children are cured. And
that's phenomenal. I mean, we sometimes hesitate to use the word cure, but our boldness needs to be, displayed in the fact that we actually now today have the tools to find cures and to cure, period. And it must be, I mean, there is nothing more rewarding for a founder, for a CEO, for an inventor, for a scientist than to see their work actually, help patients, especially children, right? How does that feel?
It's exactly what a scientist has been training for a decade or 2 decades. It's exactly the feeling seeing children, and now that I'm a mom, seeing the children, smile and their parents see their children walk again. There's no more rewarding feeling. And to again build a company around that promise that we could do it again, but this time use artificial intelligence, machine learning, cloud computing, all the technologies that other industries were using for many years, use those in healthcare so we can advance, accelerate in light speed, and develop therapies for patients like children, like women with breast cancer, right? It will make such a big difference in the future of these patients' lives.
Yeah, that's so rewarding. Not only that is it's rewarding, but it's also makes you wake up in the morning and be eager to get to work, and you and your employees both. And that is what we all hope to accomplish, and that's what makes all those years of failures and trials and errors worth it at the end of the day. So congratulations on all of the great work that you're doing and the impact you're having on the world. So, well, as we said at the beginning of the show, it is Hispanic Heritage Month. And so I want to get to talking about the importance of, culture and diversity and inclusion in STEM, and also the role of women in STEM, and how you've actually woven culture and diversity into your own company, and how that actually is fostering new ideas for machine learning and drug discovery. So tell us a little bit about that.
You know what? I am a Latina. I am a mom. I'm a woman building a biotech that is different. That is, a new industry. But in the United States, women are accounted for more than half of college-educated workforce, and only a quarter end up being STEM workers, right? Science and technology and math. So how can we change that? And I think one of the reasons that I'm very passionate about, celebrating this month and continue to celebrate and bring other women into my company and create that culture is because we need to see more women represented in STEM, period. We need to change and eliminate those biases towards women in STEM and women in generally. It's starting to, assigning genders or colors or, specific, topics for women or little girls when they're growing up. And I think having me as a woman of color sitting in a C-level position, it allows other women to have a reference to make sure that it is possible, that it is achievable, and others like them could do it and get here.
That's great, because if you can see it, you can be it, as they say, right?
Yeah.
And I hear that your company, so not only is it you yourself, but your company is representative of that kind of ethos. It's made up of 49% women, 49% of your total workforce is BIPOC, made up of people of color. I mean, that's incredible. I mean, why do you feel that women, not just women, but people of color felt that Envisagenics was a place that they wanted to work in? Is it part of your mission and your vision? And how do you recruit to kind of meet that kind of a representation?
Yeah, I think it's, morally imperative to share my story. And I think I'll say most of our applicants for Envisagenics for both job and internship are actually women because they could feel comfortable. They feel that if they apply, they can get it because they see it's a biotech that is led by a woman. So, it just happens that we are challenging the status quo. We're challenging that myth that it's very difficult to find and fill, STEM roles with women because most of our applicants are women and all of these women are filling technical positions. So, we're really, really proud about, having the culture and actually engraving, being part of that culture of Envisagenics, kind of like taking that myth away because, that's, I want to showcase that it is possible. And it is possible by having women like me in C-level positions. So, yes, we're a small sample size, but in reality, that's where it has to be, we have to start moving the needle in all Fortune 500 companies, all the board of directors across all the companies in the world. So others could see representation and we can change the status quo.
Absolutely. It all starts with representation sort of on the company level, and then representation ultimately, to serve the population, that we're trying to serve, whether it's genomics, whether it's treatments, whether it's clinical trials, and in all which ways possible, right? Earlier this year, Authority Magazine called you one of the top inspirational women in STEM and tech. And I know why that is, but to our audience, I would vote for you. Why do you
Thank
think?
you.
Why do you think that? Explain to our audience why do you think that happened, and what advice do you have for all the women out there to pursue their passion for science and stand up and be inspiring to other people?
I think, I think one of the things that I drive myself is to remove biases, remove stigma, rephrase questions, to have a leadership role on changing the way that others are viewed. Because, unconscious biases, which, can be nonverbal, verbal, are often happening for women and people of color. We must continue to address decisions head on, and you know me, I have no shame, and I'm actually really proud to speak about these because they're deeply ingrained in who I am and in my culture. And I think it's extremely important to educate um, at any point others so we can take those biases away and we can have other women and mentors and allies towards us and changing how women are seen in biotech and in biopharma.
Absolutely. And I'm coming back to that question about bias and how do we eliminate bias, not only in us humans, but beyond that in a minute. But let me first stage that with a question about AI, right? You're using AI day in and day out. It's all the buzz nowadays. Everybody's talking about AI. Every other word is AI. But if you get past the hype and all of that and push that aside and look at it objectively, AI does hold the promise to really accelerate drug discovery, diagnosis, treatments, et cetera, right? Do you think that there is a huge potential? We've barely scratched the surface of what AI can do in health.
Yes. uh, AI, we will change the way that we do things. We can accelerate and automate processes that no human alone can do. And I think AI in drug discovery will, it requires very deep technical expertise, but that's where we're here for. And the fact that everybody now knows about it. My company's been, running and growing is one of the leaders, and we've been up doing this more than almost a decade, or even more than a decade since we're in the lab. But the better and the more we use it, the better this technology is going to get. That means we're going to be able to find cures for people faster, more personalized, and get to our patients sooner, which is what we all work towards.
Absolutely. So, first of all, thank you for being an advisor for our Health AI for Good challenge, which is part of our Cure Exchange. And part of why we launched the challenge was, to give people an opportunity, no matter their income level, color, gender, or what have you, background, to give them a chance to provide ideas on early stage solutions and concept of how you can actually take AI and apply it to cures. What excites you most about this challenge? And how do you think it can benefit the New York City community, but also the global community?
You see, I think New York City has this unique personality. People of every color, every shape, every nationality, every religion. And by having something like this that takes, color blindness and gender, biases away and just tries to find the best of the best, doesn't matter where the idea comes from, it really is true of what New York City is all about. And I think AI and applying AI in healthcare, right? We shouldn't care where this idea come from, but if those people that we find and that win those challenges, we can provide resources that they wouldn't otherwise have. I think it will propel them to be successful. Because as I always say, if you can make it here in New York City, you can make it anywhere. But surrounding yourself with the best of the best and with the people that Cure is providing, some of the mentors and advisors and investors will definitely, make others believe and trust of what those challengers and all those new innovators are doing.
That's phenomenal. And of course, with the new language learning models, I mean, there is so much opportunity to do so much more in terms of diversity and inclusion. And so one of the key questions is, we have an opportunity now as we stand at the precipice of teaching machines how to think and, like human beings and apply intelligence. There is an opportunity for us to actually eliminate something that we all have, which is bias, right? How do we ensure that as we teach machines how to think like us, that we think them to think unlike us when it comes to bias? How can we eliminate bias in terms of the data that we are feeding the machines, how we teach them and train them to learn all of these various, human sort of centric solutions?
Yeah, so I think that that answer has probably for me has two prongs. One is the data. I think us as an industry we really have to work on the data. The data is very heterogeneous. It's very different. It looks different in every single city and every single country for every single disease for every single patient. And we must do a better job on data acquisition because right now most of the data that we have are in Caucasian males and diseases don't care how you look like or what color or what gender you are. So we have to, as an industry, do a better job on acquiring, getting data from different sources on socioeconomic backgrounds. So again, data is one. And then the second will be algorithms. Algorithms are extremely important and who writes them, who develops them, right? It also, again, it has to be a diverse background. That's where D&I, it's not a nice to have, it's a must have because we have to have a different set of experiences, backgrounds, and also diverse communities and cultures because depending on the algorithms and not only the data, but who writes them and what those algorithms do, and the standards and equity and ethics, right? All of it really encompasses what the future holds for, discovering and developing therapeutics.
And so we have a chance to do it right, in a human-centric way. We have a chance to kind of, eliminate bias and do it equitably and democratize information, democratize healthcare. And, and I want to thank you, Maria, for you and many of your colleagues and so many people around the world who are working to build this better future for us in AI, in health, and in access to healthcare. So thank you very much, Maria, for joining us on Tuesday Talks. And thank you, all of you, for watching Tuesday Talks. And don't forget to tune in all month long to Tuesday Talks as we take Cure on the road and come to you virtually from wherever we are in the world. Cure on the Road, Tuesday Talks. Watch live.